What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Schilling N Stunna podcast. The kickoff is right around the corner. We're here to hit y'all with our bold predictions and hot takes for the season. Don't bet any of this if you don't believe in it yourself.
For sure.
So
do your own research.
Yeah, definitely. And then division winners for the AFC South, I got the Colts at -125.
Yes, sir. I got the Colts as well.
Nice.
Definitely.
That's a
Indianapolis Colts.
AFC North, Cincinnati at +168.
Okay, and I'm rolling with the Baltimore Ravens, +139. I think getting all these guys back, I think Lamar should be up for a huge season. So
maybe we can come back to that one. Debate it a little. AFC West,
right.
Kansas City at +163.
I'm rolling with KC as well.
Nice.
+163. Yep.
AFC East, Buffalo, -239.
Buffalo. We ain't had too much thought in that one.
These odds are live on my bookie as of September 5, by the way. But my thought on Baltimore is, what if Lamar ends up holding out?
No, he gonna play for sure.
You think he's gonna play without getting paid though?
Yeah.
You think so? Okay. I just feel like there's too much in the air.
Nah, at this point, I mean, he showed up to training camp. He's given all indication he's gonna be out there. And, I mean, we'll get to it why I think the Baltimore Ravens will take over that division this year. Just, by being healthy and having him back for a full season. That's my team.
This was the toughest one for me, the AFC North, because I do feel like Cincinnati improved a lot this offseason. They finally have an offensive line. These guys all grow another year, learn a little more. I do think it just might be their time.
No, I think they'll be right back in the thick of things. I just think those two teams will be, the two of the top teams in the AFC, and they'll be battling out for sure.
Right.
So it's not a knock against Cincinnati at all.
Same with Baltimore.
I just truly believe in Baltimore.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and roll over to the NFC. So starting off with the NFC South, my pick would be the New Orleans Saints, man. I know there's a little surprise there, but I do think they got a loaded roster, and I think Jameis Winston will surprise a lot of people this year. So right now you catch the Saints at +350 on the year.
I think Carolina's my dark horse team this year. I got them at +1,000 at DraftKings. My apologies, my bookie. Promo code SNS. But I think they've just been throwing shit at the wall, and maybe this Baker thing sticks. I mean, eventually something's got to work out for them. I think they have a loaded defense. Yeah. They drafted the lineman, right, from North Carolina.
Yeah, Kwame.
Yep, so they're better on the O-line. I know he's a project-type guy, but this is probably the best quarterback that, like, a DJ Moore has had. Same with Robbie Anderson. So, not that Baker is, like, an elite guy, but it is an upgrade from Sam Darnold.
No, we'll definitely touch on them a little bit more because I like Carolina as well. Probably not that well, but yeah, I'm not mad at that pick at all. So just to roll on to the next division, I have the NFC North. I do think it's some regression as far as the Packers this year, but I just think having Aaron Rodgers over there, that team, a good defense, I think he'll do enough, and I got those as my pick for -191 right now. Green Bay Packers.
I got the same thing. Packers at -191.
I kind of thought you was going to roll Minnesota there, but yeah.
I wanted to, but my thought process there is Green Bay does have a good defense, and Rodgers is back-to-back MVP. I think they focus more on the run game this year. A.J. Dillon, another year. He's still young. He learns a little more. I think it'll be a more run-heavy team.
Yeah, I'm leaning Green Bay for sure. Yeah. So the NFC West, and this is not much of a surprise. I think it'll be what the what, but I am rolling with the San Francisco 49ers to take this division, and you can catch them at +164 right now. So I mean, some good odds to catch, man. So
I wanted to take San Francisco, but this Jimmy thing has thrown me for a loop. I don't know if Trey Lance is going to keep his job. Nobody really knows. The situation's too weird for me to put money on those guys right now. So I did go with the Rams at +126.
You can't be mad at either of those, though. I like San Fran, though. And then lastly, the NFC East. I'm rolling with the Dallas Cowboys. And let me break down why, just before you take the stage there. I do think Philly has the better roster at this point. But I think having a Dak Prescott, having a top 5 defense is similar to what you were saying about the Green Bay Packers, where it's not going to look the same. We'll have a different identity this year. We have to find ways to win. But, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Dallas Cowboys will take the division this year. And I'm not being biased at all when I say that. I truly do. And you can catch us at plus 141 on the year.
I think this year, Tyron Smith going down really swung things for me, but I know we talked today about it, and I think it all depends on if Jalen Hurts has improved. He is a gamer, like he's a competitive guy. He has that work ethic. Everybody talks about it. But is it going to translate on the field? Because if not, then I do think it's Dallas. So because of that, I rolled with Dallas as well. But I do think that this is one of those seasons where it comes down to the final week of the season. It's not going to be like a landslide NFC East champ.
And it's been tough. I don't think we had a repeat winner in the division since like 2003, so somewhere around that range. So it's been a while.
Right.
I think that the last team to do it was the Philadelphia Eagles. Why not us? It's going to be tough. You know what I mean? I'm definitely interested to see how it all play out. I think both teams will be good this year. I think both teams will be playoff teams at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and roll into the offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. Who you got for offense?
I took James Cook at plus 1,600. I just think you plug him into an offense that was struggling with the run, and he should take some sort of leadership in that backfield and maybe help get them over this hump. I don't know. Who'd you take?
Yeah. So we did something similar. And truly, to be honest, my pick would be Kenny Pickett if I can guarantee that he would start, you know what I mean, most of the year, which I can at this point. And then I'm going with a guy who's similar position, DeMar Pierce. I just think, you know what I mean, him being in that offense, kind of being the only guy outside of a Brandon Cooks, I think he'll have all the touches, all the opportunities to prove himself and have a big year. So you can catch him at plus 900 right now. And I think that's not a bad bet at all if you want to go ahead and take a shot at DeMar Pierce right now.
I was looking at DeMar Pierce first, but I just in my head was like Houston is too bad for him to even be considered. I just feel like those games aren't really going to be on prime time. Like he won't get the eyeballs, but I could easily see it going that way as well.
Yeah.
Defensive rookie of the year. I'm gonna throw you for a loop. I got Drake Jackson at plus 3,100, and I would love to expand on that.
That's a nice bet. So I'm gonna let you expand on that. So I actually kind of have a two-way deal right here. The gut in me, truly, from what I've seen and how he flashed, I just feel like Aiden Hutchinson is that guy.
Okay.
And it's hard because you want to do bold predictions here, but then it's like from everything I've seen, I think he'll come in and make an impact right away. And if I had to make a sleeper, just to double check my pick right there. I think George Karlaftis. I think he could be in for a big year, surprise some folks, being one of those guys that just steps in right away, make an impact. As a third down pass rusher being on the field, I think he could rack up plays right away. And he's another player who look good as well. So I think if you wanted to make a sleeper pick or just go ahead and try to put a nice bet, and I think George Karlaftis is a guy. Now, if you want to spend on that Drake Jackson pick, man, what you think?
So I think he's a fringe first-round guy who fell to San Francisco and gets plugged into a defensive line with Nick Bosa, with not Buckner. Who's the other guy over there? The big guy. Solomon Thomas? No, Armstead. My bad. Okay, Armstead. Mm-hmm. You plug him right into that system. You got Fred Warner flying around behind him, and he's not going to be asked to come in and fix a team like an Aiden Hutchinson. He's just going to be able to play his game, which in turn could just open things up for a Nick Bosa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think he's like under the radar as far as rookie defensive players because of where he went.
Yeah.
But switching over to MVP, who do you got for that?
It's not a surprise, man. Everything kind of just falls back into what I'm thinking one way or another. If you heard what I stated before, I just think Lamar Jackson, man. I think he coming back from injury, being on that contract, I think he'll have a lot of doubters to prove wrong and shit. And I think this is the year he'll do it. Look for him to, you know what I mean, have a big year, get that double MVP under his belt, man, and go ahead and cash out this summer. So that's my guy, man. You can catch Lamar Jackson at plus 1,800 right now, which is great. That's great value right now at MVP, man. So, yeah, That's my bold prediction for MVP. Who you got?
I wanted to take Lamar, but then I just feel like there's so many questions in Baltimore, and this is all like my perspective. I ran with Pat Mahomes at plus 760, and that's a really safe pick, but I think he's a man on fire with some shit to prove this season. He loses his guy. He gets all these new guys in. So I think he's just going to come out, and then all this talk about the Raiders, the Chargers, I think he's going to come out firing on all cylinders.
No, I like the sound of that. By losing a little bit more, and then you still balling out, I think that'll be enough to sway some voters this year. So
I think he's got a point.
I'm interested to see.
That's what it is.
For sure. Like that.
What?
Now, let's...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Now, I was going to say, if you want to move into offensive player of the year and defensive player of the year. So normally, if you know how MVPs go, it's usually the quarterback. But offensive player, it's like one player who's just balling out. So last year we had a Cooper Kupp who had a triple crown and just went crazy. Who going crazy outside of that quarterback position this year? What you think?
I got Justin Jefferson, bro. I'm Justin Jefferson nut rider this year. So that's at plus 1,600, which this will lead to another name later. But also I got Micah plus 900 for defensive. So
it's interesting because we got the same two picks there. Which is dope. We can agree on that, man. I think Justin Jefferson is up for a huge year. You hear him keep throwing around them numbers like, hey, I'm going to touch 2K. I'm going to be the first to do it since Calvin Johnson, man. It seems like he has all the motivation stepping into, what is this, year 3?
Yeah.
And it's the year that, most guys will take that huge leap. He's already proven it. Definitely, I think Justin Jefferson. And then Michael Parsons, man. I think, man, just by the Cowboys alone, putting him on the edge more opportunities to sack the pass rusher, one more year in Dan Quinn's system, understanding the coverages, and this year just not being a guy that's figuring it out, but then learning how to play at his own speed. I think he could be up for a huge year. I'm talking like 100 tackles, 18 sacks, like some crazy numbers, man. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was to hit 20.
This is a total homer pick, too, because I did have, let me see if I can show this, Nick Bosa up there, and I crossed him out for Micah 5 minutes before we started because I was on Twitter looking at Micah highlights. And I was just like, nah, that's my guy, bro. Fuck Nick Bosa.
Man, I love that guy, man. So, yeah. I didn't hesitate either. It was like, defensive player, oh, Micah.
Well, it was crazy because I was already thinking Drake Jackson, Nick Bosa in my head when I was doing it. So that was like the first name that I thought of. And then the highlights changed my mind. What about, what's a team that did not make the playoffs last year that you think will make this year?
So it's kind of, I wish I went against the grain here, but obviously if it's not even that bold to me, because if you heard me earlier again, I talked about two teams that I just think they're going to fight for it. Baltimore Ravens, man. I think it's clearly easy for me just to put them in there. I think one of the best defenses in the league. You have a Lamar Jackson, one of the best coaches in John Harbaugh. I think they're going to be there at the end of the day, man. I can't see them not making the playoffs this year, man. I think when you have a loaded AFC West, all those teams will beat up on each other. So when it comes down to a wild card, I do think Ravens will be one of those teams that, whether it's winning the division or if not, they'll be there.
Nice.
And who you got for that?
Mine's Detroit. No, I'm playing. The Los Angeles Chargers. They got the roster, but do they have the coaching staff? We find out this year. With that being said, like if they don't make the playoffs, Brandon Staley is gone for sure. And they're going to get somebody in there. Hopefully Dean Spanos decides to pay a coach, get someone in there that's capable. But I just feel like with that roster, you at least make the playoffs.
Yeah. I agree. I like that pick.
What about a playoff team that did make it last year that you don't think will make it this year?
Ooh.
Mine's Pittsburgh, like all day Pittsburgh. And it's crazy because Tomlin had me so hyped up on the pivot interview. But when you come out and say Trubisky starting week 1, I'm out.
Yeah. And honestly, I would have to roll with you on that. Like we talked about, I think you have two teams in that division. I think is the cream of the crop. I can't see 3 teams getting there. If it's any third team, give me the Titans or one of those AFC West teams trying to fight in there, whether that's the Raiders or Broncos. I believe it would be one of those. But yeah, for sure. I think that's the easiest pick and the safest bet right there.
I agree.
Yeah.
That wasn't bold at all. What about who's your surprise team of the year? The team that is kind of coming into this without expectations,
I just got to go with the Carolina Panthers here. I just think last year they started off hot. You know, I mean, one of the best defenses in the league. They had their identity, and then it seemed like Christian McCaffrey got hurt, and Sam Darnold, who was playing good, and he just started seeing ghosts, and everything just kind of just started falling off the rails. You know what I mean? But I think this year you get a J.C. Horn back. The defense should look good now that you're in that system. You get a Christian McCaffrey back, and then you get a Baker Mayfield over there, who I think is another guy who has a huge chip on his shoulder. He should play a lot better football than Sam Darnold. I think they have a nice identity, a nice pathway just to be one of those teams that pretty much is going to be slept on. But I think in that division, don't be surprised if they make some noise.
Mine's Carolina as well. I think it all rides on the shoulders of Christian McCaffrey, though. If McCaffrey goes down again, it's game over in Carolina, in my opinion.
Of course.
So I'm riding with you on that one. Who do you think's the worst team in the league? Who's got the first overall pick in the draft?
Worst team, I think, is the Houston Texans. I just don't think they did enough. Like, I think about the worst teams. I think about the Jets. And the Jets, they got a strong defense. They went out and they got weapons. The Zach Wilson situation, we don't know. But I think looking at them, I think they'll improve. The Detroit Lions, I can't put them in there, even though they had the first pick. I think they're a very competitive team. I don't think they're the monster worst. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, they went out and they did a lot. The Texans, on the other hand, like outside of Brandon Cooks, will Nico Collins step up? Who knows? Will DeMar Pierce live up to it? Davis Mills, how will he look? It's a lot of questions. And then the defense, anything over there just doesn't help the situation. I just think that is a team you'll look at right away. And I just think that's the worst team in the league to me.
I can definitely see Houston. I almost put Houston. It was a battle between Houston, Atlanta, and Chicago. But I gave it to Chicago. I just don't think they've done the right things for Justin Fields. They went and signed Leatherwood, which is a huge mistake in my opinion. They're shopping their second-round pick from the year before. They let Robinson go. Like, he's just going to throw to Mooney and Kmet and run for his life. I just think that's a disaster. Roquan, I don't even think he's back yet. So they're probably their best player. So
it's definitely bad. I'm not mad at that pick at all.
I think
it's going to be bad in Chicago for real. So going from the bottom to the top, right? Conference winners. So who you got for the AFC?
My bold to pick here is Indianapolis at plus 1150. If Taylor can keep doing what he did last year, you get a more serviceable quarterback. Pittman another year later. You get Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
I think there's
top defense.
Yeah, I like that a lot. They signed Stephon Gilmore. How about that secondary?
So if I want to put a bold take out there, I think the Las Vegas Raiders, man, has a strong chance to come out here and light the league up, man. Just from the standpoint of they're going to be hard to stop. It might be a team that all they need is that defense to look serviceable. Like, prioritize the turnovers, whatever you got to do, get the ball back to the offense, and there could be danger over there on the AFC side. Bold take. Now, my gut feeling, you know what I mean? That's one of those other questions that we try to figure out the in-between right there. I think the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the league, in the NFL and football right now. So, sure thing to me will be Buffalo, but if I had a team that I would put a nice bet on and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, give me Vegas. Give me the Raiders.
That's what, obviously, Buffalo's my number one, but putting $10 on Buffalo and 10 on Indy, one looks better than the other.
Right.
But NFC, so, I got Green Bay.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Proving everybody wrong. I'm rolling with San Fran. That was my pick to win the division. That's my pick to kind of just continue what they did last year, even with a Trey Lance. I think he has a chance. Even with the Jimmy G situation going on, he could just be one of those guys that just lights up the league. And the upside of that alone, I would put a bet on that, them being right at the top, being the cream of the crop right over there in the NFC.
I think for the Green Bay side, Aaron Rodgers keeps talking about his ayahuasca trip and all that, and he's in this headspace. But if he is like in this headspace he's talking about, then and that defense is as good as I think it'll be, and they're saying Bakhtiari's probably coming back week 1, then I think Aaron's got a point to prove. Back-to-back MVPs. Brady gets number 1 on the top 100. Why isn't Aaron number 1? Like, I just feel like he gets all this stuff rattling in his head. He might go out and light it
Hey,
up.
it's overdue. It's definitely overdue. So just to follow that up, obviously we have the conference champions here, so it has to be one of those teams. My pick, just to follow that up, would be the 49ers. If I had a Buffalo Bills 49ers, I'm just kind of going with the dark horse here and picking them to win it all this year.
Mine's Green Bay. I think Aaron wins it and rides off in the sunset. That's my prediction here. He keeps talking about he doesn't really want to play. He's in a different headspace now. Like, he keeps joking retirement this, retirement that, but I think he just needs that one more Super Bowl before he goes. And if he gets it, I think that's it.
That's a huge hot take. All right, so just to go ahead and transition, NFL passing leader, what you thinking?
Kirk Cousins.
I like it.
Kirk
They be
Cousins.
slinging. They be slinging over there in Minnesota for sure. I got Josh Allen, man. Just taking the top off defenses. He gonna be running a little bit, but I just think, man, just a guy who does it all. I think with Gabriel stepping up and Isaiah McKenzie over there, I think they'll be. I think he'll be that guy, man. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I think from the Cousins side, their secondary is so bad that they're just going to be in shootouts all year, and his weapons are crazy. And they did. I know Rager was terrible in Philadelphia, but what if he goes over to that system and thrives? And they have another first-round pick over there. You know what I mean? Like, I think that offense is going to be crazy. What do you have for rushing leader?
For rushing leader, so we're on two different sides of the fence here. So rushing leader, I'm going with Dalvin Cook. You know what I mean? I think finally getting that guy healthy, I think, man, he's ready to be just taking the top off defenses all year round. You know what I mean? And just it's going to be running for the races, man. So give me Dalvin Cook, finally healthy. And when he's healthy, man, a lot of magic over there in Minnesota.
I wanted Chubb here bad, but
me too.
With the quarterback situation, I couldn't do it. So I did put in Derrick Henry, and you can catch that at plus 520. That's just their biggest path to victory. Their receiver position super questionable. They lose who did they lose today? Somebody just tore their ACL on defense. Harold Landry.
Harold Landry. Yep.
So they're going to be forced to run the ball, and that's kind of, even when they're losing, they're running the ball. They don't stop. So if Derrick can stay healthy, he would have won the rushing title last year anyways. Wasn't he still leading like 3 weeks after he broke his foot?
Yeah, it was wild. It was a beast, man.
Right.
So, yeah. It's one of those things, like, if you expect him to slow down, take a step back, yes, but if the same guy come back, that's a huge bet as well, man.
Right.
Definitely could see him in there, right around that, because he would have hit 2K last year, I believe. So,
Easy.
Yeah.
What do you have for receiving? I got Jefferson to go with Cousins for receiving leader.
So receiving leader would be, I know we talked about offensive player of the year, Justin Jefferson, right? I think he'll be the guy that obviously has a huge year, but I think Jamar Chase, just being the biggest vertical threat in the league, I think they'll be hopping back. I think Joe Burrow will be looking for his guy deep, and I think as far as like just leading the league, as far as yards go, Jamar Chase will be my guy.
Okay. What about comeback player of the year?
Christian McCaffrey at plus 700, which is nice.
I got
what you got?
Famous Jameis at plus 500.
I like that.
And that's
the quarterback position.
He's not known to be an injury riddled, so I do expect him to come back and play. It was kind of a freak accident when he blew his knee out last year. He comes in with all those weapons. Michael Thomas is back. Kamara's there. Like, he's set up for success.
Yeah. So my line of thinking, it was obviously between Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, for real, all the running backs, Derrick Henry. But then I looked at, like, not just rushing yards, but then, like, who would be the most valuable and what he could do for his team. And I just think CMC, 17 games, if it happens, it's too big to pass up right there as far as a nice bet just to cash out. So,
what about who do you think has the best defense in the league this year?
Best defense in the league? Obviously, to go along with who I think was going to win it all and everything, I just think that's a huge part of why I believe it'll be San Fran. To me, I think that's the number one defense in the league. I think they have the linebackers up front. They have the pass rush, the back end. They have it all over them, man. So that would be my pick.
Mine's Green Bay. They draft defensive linemen or defensive players 2 in the first round. Already on a good defense, you get Jair back. Like, Devondre Campbell was all pro. So
it's true.
Russell Douglas still there. Like, I think they're set up for success defensively. Offensively, I got Minnesota.
I got Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Man. Yep.
And then obviously I think Minnesota will probably make the playoffs, as you can tell.
You can't go wrong when they're one of those. Like the receivers we talking about, the offenses they're going to be in. And then why I like Cincinnati is because it's like game script or not, they sling. I don't care if they're behind. I don't care if they up. They trying to take teams' will. And I think that's something right there that end up in a lot of yards, a lot of points, a lot of magic over there.
I agree. But This is the Schilling N Stunna podcast. You got any final words?
Yeah, man, I'm just excited for some football, man. We finally here. Man. We got 1 week to go. You know what I mean? That's all I can say, man. Wait. I'm excited, man. It feels good. It feels good, man. So, if anything, man, just stay tuned. Just keep hitting that like, share, subscribe button.